Okay, back at it. This is just going to be a second part. It's going to be a quick one, I hope, about variable valve timing. And we have 4 signals we're looking at. On channel A, blue, we're looking at the crank sensor. Channel B is intake cam sensor. Channel C is the duty cycle from the VTC solenoid from the PCM. That is an output. And our 4th channel will go to the wind cylinder running. We got a WPS 500 on cylinder 1. And we're going to look at the dynamics of the intake cam phasing. So basically, I'm going to take you inside to show you something, and we're going to do it in 2 steps, and then we're going to get back on the scope. So as we start to phase the cam, we want to look at something else. We're looking at this tool here. This is an important tool. That's a scan tool. Just important like the scope. We never want to discredit one. We want to use them both in harmony. So I'm going to we're going to power brake it. Let me get that glare out of you. Okay. Okay, see we got a steady 45 there. We're close to 45. Just kind of watch that. And then we'll go back to the scope. Okay. You can see what happens. Okay, let's go back to the scope. And we'll set up and take a look. Okay, you can see the patterns on the screen. We got the in-cylinder on yellow, we got the crank on blue, we got the command to the VTC solenoid on green, and the intake cam on red. So let's stop the scope and then start the scope. We'll give it another power brake and we'll see what happens. We're idling right now. So we got scan and scope. Use them in harmony when the need be. We'll stop the screen, we'll talk about it, and I'll stop the car. Okay, so let's roll it back to the beginning. All right. And then, okay, right here we're idling. Let's just take a quick look at the idle. We've seen this before. We basically have a fire cycle here, and this is gonna have to go away. On yellow, we can see our in-cylinder transducer. Blue is our crankshaft. Red is our intake cam, and green is our duty cycle, which we don't see any duty cycle here. We just see like a monitored signal. The PCM is most likely monitoring that circuit. So anyways, you can see here, we got our top dead center on the cylinder 1. The thing is idling. Our peak pressure is, let's roll the cursor down and get a peak pressure. An idling pressure is about, we're about 63 PSI, which is good. We can see our pockets. Let's set some cursors up and take a look at that 4-stroke cycle. And what we do later, when I came off idle, I power brake the car. We phased it. So basically, what happens when we phased it is that this event is going to happen sooner. This is going to open sooner and it's going to close sooner, and hence closing an intake valve sooner will give you more pressure in the cylinder, will help aid pressure along with other things. The intake cam, the exhaust cam right here, that will stay the same. The exhaust camshaft is not phased on this car. Some cars phase both. Some Hondas and a lot of the newer cars today are phasing both. They have independent control of the exhaust camshaft and the intake camshaft. In a case like that, they will move wherever their duty solenoid, where the PCM wants them. If an exhaust camshaft was phased and it was duty cycled, it would actually phase a little more retarded. It would rest at its most advanced position and phase retarded this way. And of course, an intake cam advanced would phase this way, and the close would also go this way. If we had a single overhead cam, we had one stick, one camshaft on top of the cylinder head or in the block, wherever it phased, everything would move in unison together, the exhaust and the intake. It is one camshaft. So we would see if we have a single overhead cam and we phased it advanced, the exhaust would open earlier, it would close earlier, the intake would open earlier, and it would close earlier. And that's not this particular car, but many cars out there have different kinds of setups. So anyway, let's go and look at the situation where I gave it some throttle and I gave it some load, and we saw, okay, let's see what our duty cycle looks like. We can tell what that looks like. We can see, okay, looks like we have some duty cycle here. And as we can see, let's give a little stretch here on our pocket so we can get more granularity on the yellow guy. Okay. All right, right there. We're kind of zooming in on the pockets. The intake valve, in this case, would open sooner. And being that it opened sooner, we would see this event moved this way. But I'm not going to run the cursors because sometimes when you come off idle, it's not as accurate as if as the screenshot we looked at idle. So anyway, I just wanted to show that, and I will set up what we call a math channel. And I want to look at that duty cycle. Remember what we saw on the scan tool? We saw a PID on the scan tool about 45% duty cycle. So we're going to look at duty cycle C, and we go here, and we're looking at duty cycle. Now this is a math channel, this is a process channel, which is measuring the green channel. So let me roll the cursor down and see if what the scan tool sort of corroborates with the scope. We are seeing, all right, about 39 and change, 38, 82. We know that it sort of fluctuated. It was a little less than 45 on the scan tool when I showed you the Genesis scan tool. But anyway, that's our channel. That's how much duty cycle we had under load. Let's go look at the duty cycle when we go back to idle, and that should be probably very low. And let's go back and see what that duty cycle looks like. Okay. As we can see, we are very low. As we know that when the car's idling, the PCM is not activating the VTC solenoid for any period of time. So we got a pretty much, we're looking at just a little north of zero, practically zero for all intents and purposes. We're very low on the duty cycle, which is expected because the car is idling. Anyway, just wanted to see the dynamics of variable valve timing with a transducer in the cylinder, and also the duty cycle command and the phasing of the intake camshaft and the crank, which you saw in the previous video. Thanks for watching this video. Best to you, Gary. Keep on traveling and keep on watching and stay safe, and all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.